Hey guys, welcome back to another video by This Old Outboard. I got a 19, I think it's a 59, it may be a 60 Evinrude 10 horsepower motor, and it's got a miss. So I'm going to be taking off the recoil starter and the flywheel to get to the ignition components, and we're going to check the points and the coil and the condensers. As with all my videos, make sure to check the video description for links to any products I use or any additional information. You can find the video description by, there should be a down arrow over here, and you click it and it should expand some content. Step one is to take the flywheel off. There are 3 screws, one here, here, and then mirrored over here. That's all you got to do, take it off. It really just depends on if you need a flathead or a Phillips head screwdriver, or sometimes you may end up needing a socket or a boxed in wrench. Just depends. These motors are old, so the fasteners get changed out and hodgepodge quite a lot. Way you can keep all the screws together. To take the flywheel off, first we're gonna have to take this plate off. It has 3 screws here. Remove this plate, and then we'll loosen this nut, this main nut here that's tied to the crankshaft. This is a 3/4 inch wrench. If you're just needing to check your points, that cover here covers this hole, and you can rotate your flywheel to where you can see your points and then check the gap. There's also a label here, set points to 0.02 inches. That's 20 thousandths of an inch gap. Now we'll take our 3/4 inch wrench and bust this loose. Next, we're going to take our flywheel puller here. Basically, it's pretty straightforward how to use it. You have this threaded shaft. You want the flat side up, and you set this part down on top of the crankshaft, and then align your screws, tighten them in. Now the trick to all this is getting everything nice and flush and level, so you pull it straight up and not at some cattywampus angle. So just take your time and make sure you get it flush and straight up. It's a 5/8 inch, and you want to just jack that center screw up and slowly, and it should pop right off. There we go. Now you can just lift up, take the flywheel off, inspect for any damage. Thing looks pretty good. Alright, so after a pretty close inspection, you can see that this connection right here is pretty loose. That could be easily causing my misfire. Yeah, everything's kind of loose right there. So I'm going to tighten up this screw. This one seems to be pretty tight, but I'm going to tighten it up as well. I'm going to tighten everything up really. So I'm just going to go ahead and replace all the points and the condensers on this one. Comes in this kit, Sierra kit 18-5006, 5006. But we're going to check out the, oh looky there, that's not good. I don't know where that came from. But yeah, we're just going to clean up everything. Make sure there's no debris in here. finding that wasn't good, and switch out the points and coils. Well, I mean points and condensers. All right, before I start taking everything off, I'm gonna test the coils out real quick. And to do that, you're gonna need a digital voltmeter. I have this old Fluke 73 here. And the next thing you're gonna need to do is remove the two primary coil leads, which are the small wires here, and this one's on the point over here. It's a green wire, so we're going to remove those. I'm gonna take the coil completely off to make sure I don't have any grounding interference. I don't think you can do it on the motor without having some grounding interferences. So instead of taking everything off, I'm just gonna place some plastic underneath it because I don't want to remove it from the boot if it's good. And hopefully that'll provide enough insulation. So your two spade connectors here and here, or I guess my hand's in the way, here and here are the primary coil, and they should read between 1 and 3 ohms. This is 1.5 ohms, so that is good. The next thing you need to check is go from either spade connector. So I'm going to go from this black one to this one is the bottom cylinder spark plug, and this needs to read between, hopefully you can see that, 3 and 10 ohms. So we are at 4.3 and 10 kilo ohms. We are at 4.57 kilo ohms. That is 4,570 ohms. So this is within tolerance. So this coil is good. So I'm going to remove the plastic and button everything back down and go to the next one. Going to lift up the coil just a little bit, place this underneath it to provide a little bit of isolation. And then I also have to remove this lead here. Alright, so hopefully you can see that. So we're going to go from this lead to the green one. Let's do it this way so maybe my hands won't be in the way. 1 ohm, so that's good low resistance. 1 ohm. Alright, now we're going to go from there to the top. 4.62, that's in kilo ohms, that's in between 3 and 10 kilo ohms. That is 4,620 kilo ohms. So we are within spec. So both of these coils are good to go. I don't need to replace them. I'm not going to cinch everything back down because we have to align everything at the end with an alignment tool. This is the alignment tool. So I'm just going to kind of leave everything loosely fitted for now. Since we're going to take the points and condensers off and replace them, I'm going to go ahead and remove the cam, and we're going to have to remove the Woodruff key, which you can see right here, and then slide this brass washer and spring off. Make sure you don't lose that Woodruff key. They're not cheap to replace. Now you can slide the brass washer off and the bevel spring. Remember how the spring goes in? There should be a large diameter and a small diameter. The small diameter goes facing up. At this time you want to kind of look around the top bearing of the crankshaft and make sure there's not any oil there. If there is oil there, you need to remedy that, because the oil leaking can sling onto your points and cause an ignition failure in and of itself. Even if all the parts are good, if you have oil leaking through the top crankshaft seal, it can render your motor useless. Next, let's remove the coils. They have a big screw here, holds them down. Just pick them up like that. First step to remove the points is to remove this piece, and you do that by removing this clip here, and then this point should slide right up, and you'll have to remove this little clip. Don't like how someone did this clip here. They put it on the top down, and that makes it a little hard to get. Alright, so when I was making this video, I realized I didn't really give a lot of close-up views of the points themselves and describe in detail. So I have these genuine OMC points, 580148, and so I just wanted to kind of walk you through it. So this is the piece that mounts to the armature plate. This is the post that it slides over. Here's where the anchor screw goes in, and then here's where the cam shaft head or the oblong or the offset, whatever you want to call it, screw goes in that it ultimately rotates this piece and adjusts the gap basically between your points. So here's the other piece. This is the spring. Okay, here's your point face right there, and then here is the wiper. It looks like a electrical board material. I forget what that's called off the top of my head. That's kind of what it looks like. Some are plastic, I think. But you can see here is a hole, and this is going to slide over the shaft that's on the armature plate, and it's going to get installed like this. What I was talking about with the spring is when you install it, you want the spring on the inside of this tab here. So you can see I have it on the inside of this tab. Okay, so let's see if I can hold that together. Then you have this copper clip here, and that is going to slide over like that. Okay, it's kind of messed up, but it's because it's not on the armature plate. The way the people had it before me had it sliding from the top down, and that's not right. And then lastly, you're going to have this clip here, and it's going to snap over the post and hold this down. So hopefully that is a much clearer picture of what we have going on. It just pops right off. See if I can remove this one a little bit better. Yeah, just pops right off. They put this clip sticking straight up. You can kind of see there is the spring, and it's on the back side of this L bracket. It needs to be on this side. So let's see if I can remove this. There we go. So with all that removed, these should just slide right up. But see with that clip, see that since that spring was on the back side, it's now riding underneath the coil, so I may have to take the coils off to get it all the way up. Come on, there we go. So there's that tab part, and when you reinstall it, you need to put this face against this side, not on the back side as in this view. Now we can take off the points, the remainder of the points. Now we can take off the points, the remainder of the points. Don't forget it's got a little washer with it, so don't lose that. Oh yeah, I forgot. This oblong screw right here, see, this is how you set your points. See, whenever I rotate it, see how it basically camshaft, it's a cam screw, so it can stay in. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side to remove the other point set, and then we'll reinstall everything. All right, now we're ready to put it all back together and then set the points. All right, so we got the tune-up kit, Sierra 18-5006. It's got everything you need in there. You got 2 condensers, a set of points, and all the clips. So we're ready to start putting everything back together. Since we checked the coils out and they're good, and we're not pulling the coils off, we don't have to remove the Magneto plate or the armature plate in its entirety. We can reinstall everything as it sits right here. So we're going to take our point set and we're going to open it up. We're going to grab this piece and we're going to slide it down over the post like such. Okay. Get it all the way down and flush. Then we're going to reinstall the anchor screw right here. The anchor screw does not come in the kit, so you got to make sure that you don't lose it from when you took it off previously. All right, we're not going to tighten that all the way down just yet. We're just going to get it in there. Next, we're going to reinstall the point. So this is the contact surface here. This is the wiper. And then this tang here goes on the inside of this bracket right here. Not on the outside, but on the inside. So you're going to want to bend it a little bit. Move this out of the way. Slide it over the top of the post. There you go. And that, and hopefully you can see that, that's in its final position. So the metal tang there, it's on the inside of the gold or brass looking tab, the inside. We have a new clip you can see here, and we're going to slide it right over the post. Clips right on there. We also have a new clip here for to secure the tab. To the bracket here. It goes on like that. All right, and Now we're going to put the condenser on. So the condenser goes on like this. And make sure you have your old screw. Now you're going to take the condenser spade connector, the coil spade connector, and the cutoff switch spade connector here, and you're going to post them all right here. And you're going to want these wires tucked down. So be thinking about that. Yeah, see how they're tucked down in a way? That's what you want. Now we're going to go do the same thing on the other side. Put the new clip on there. Put this clip on there. And button up all the wires like we did over here. Make sure both of these are really tight. Alright, now I need to tighten down the coils or get them a little closer. Don't tighten them all the way. We have to do a little bit of alignment using a special tool. Now I'm going to use this alignment tool. Now tighten it back down. So for this one we need to reinstall our spring. You're gonna have to work it around the points. Put in the brass fitting. Honestly, the Woodruff key is a little kind of a pain to install sometimes, or can be. And then slide, make sure you got the top visible, slide it down. Now you need a 20 thousandths feeler gauge, and we're going to reinstall the nut here because we're going to need to hold this cam, push down on it so that it can engage the wiper on the point. And we're going to line it up with the arrow that's next to the word top, and that is the top dead center, and we are going to measure the gap. And if it is more than 20 thousandths, we're going to close it until there's friction on the feeler gauge. If the feeler gauge won't slide into the gap when it's at its max or the peak displacement, we're going to use this adjustment screw and open it up. Alright, so on this particular outboard, here's the fun part. The fun part is for this one, it has a spring-loaded cam. Okay, so that cam wants to ride up and slide off that wiper. So I have to push it down with my finger and hold it down. And then I'm going to have to, when it gets to the arrow next to the P on top, okay, I gotta hold it right there, and then you can see that the gap is open on the point, and we gotta check if it's 20 thousandths. It is not. It needs to open up a little bit. So that means I have to move this oblong screw back, open it up just a little bit, and recheck. Nope, it still pushes the wiper away just a bit, so I need to push it back a little more. Open it up. That's a little much, so I gotta come back. That is just right. Okay, so once I get it just right, I'm going to reach down in here and set the anchor. Okay, now when I set the anchor, I could easily move the points, okay? And I might have. So you might have to play with it a little bit. And if this thing was not spring loaded, the cam, this will be a lot easier. Okay? So I got that one. So now I got to go over to the other one and repeat the exact same process. You're going to put the arrow next to the P onto the wiper. Okay, right here, except on the opposite side point. I'm going to take my 20 thousandths feeler gauge. I'm going to feel the gap and make sure that I can slide it in like that and it not move the point pivot arm on this side. And then I'm going to tighten down the anchor screw, and then I'm going to check it again. Alright, I'm over here, and boy, you could drive a truck through that gap. So what I got to do is close it up. Okay, close it up, and then I'm going to check it. That's a little too closed, I guess. Back it up just a little bit. That's just about right there. So I'm going to tighten this thing down. And I can tell that I moved it, right? So I'm going to adjust it a little bit. And that's just about right. Right there. All right. Once you do that, you have your points set. Make sure that you use 0.020 or 0.5 millimeters, and that's how you set your points. All right, now that you've gotten everything tightened up and you've got your points set, you can reinstall your flywheel. So make sure it slides on, spin it around, make sure you don't feel anything hitting, scratching, or rubbing. Got the rope starter assembly tied back on. Obviously, to do that, we had to put the flywheel back on. All you got to do is just, it's the same procedure as taking it off. You make sure your Woodruff keys on the crankshaft. You align the slot and you slide it on, and then you screw the bolt down and screw it down really tight. I don't know the torque value. I'll put the torque value in the video description below, so make sure you check that out. But now for the truth of if all this worked, we're going to take it right out of the garage, and we're going to hook a hose up to it. I don't put it in a barrel. I make a hose adapter. You can also find those for sale on my eBay store. Also check the video description for a link, and we're gonna make sure everything works. So let's go check it out. All right, so we got everything working. I got the flush adapter plate hooked up, and it's hooked up to my garden hose. I'm gonna take you around and show you it. Basically, I just have a flush adapter plate here, garden hose adapter, and you can see it's leaking really bad, but that doesn't matter. And so now we're gonna do the ultimate test of cranking it up and seeing how it runs. So looks like everything is working. We got water flow, so my flush plate is working. So even though it isn't in a barrel, it's idled all the way down. You can hear that. So I probably have to tune the carburetor a little bit, but as far as the armature plate rebuild and the ignition points timing, looks like everything is as intended. So if this video helped you out, make sure to hit the like button. Subscribe to my channel for more videos, and make sure you hit that notification bell. Thanks for watching.